Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daddy Knows Best channel, helping you be a successful man, a happy man, and understand the world out there in regards to dating, surviving, and so much more. So today we're going to be talking about what is it like dating and actually how to find a successful date, actually how to find somebody. Because yesterday I kind of broke down some of the social expectations, and I'll link that video down below for you. The social expectations and a bit of the chaos of modern days in regards to dating, and it's a bit crazy out there, I'm sure that you know. But let's talk about all this dating advice and give you some real advice, something that's actually going to help you. Again, I pulled the most relevant, the most popular, the most suggested, the most recommended information out there that you probably would read and come across, and we can discuss it here together. So first is from the Huff Post, or I think they used to call themselves the Huffington Post. And if you don't know, they're a bit wild, especially politically. But they have some advice for us: 8 matchmakers on how to find a date IRL in the real life. Let's see what they got to say to us. Expand your social circle. Okay, so they're going first off for the status. And again, I've told you guys out there how important it is to have that status. Women look for men who have built fame, recognition, power. And you, as a young man, some of you guys, again, can be the Chads or the really good-looking guys, the sport, the gym rats and the sport junkies and the baseball players and the football players and soccer and all that. But really, if women are looking for somebody who has a position, somebody that can move themselves up to like a higher class or social status. I'm not going to get into politics here again today, but America's not really supposed to have any social status. There's not supposed to be, people of different status. That's not how we're supposed to treat each other and act. But women always look for that because they can take advantage of that, and that's one reason they like, organizations, the government. They like the school, and they like any type of something where there's a type of leadership, because they can take advantage of that, and they can feel like they, have a one-up, or, they can have that position and look good to their friends. It's like bragging rights, and it's also, gives the biologically gives their possible children or offspring, an advantage, a leg up in the world. If you're an ambassador, somebody has a position in government, that's very lucrative, or it looks that looks very good to a lot of these women. So do expand your social circle, and that also it's beyond just your own status. It's also your outreach. So this is a some generally good advice, actually, from the Huffington Post, because once you widen your social circle, you can, you'll have more connections, and it'll help you find probably somebody who's a little bit more compatible. Of course, you can go out there on your own, be the lone wolf, and I think that's actually how society should be. I think that men should be respected for going out there and approaching, complete strangers, being friendly, being charming, suave, well-dressed, and all that. You got to be the part, but you have a much better chance. People feel much more comfortable with you. It's not the same as being set up like on a blind date. But if your cousin knows somebody and you go to a party, it's, they just feel so much more comfortable with you. And it's also because they can, they can get information about you. They can ask anything and everything, and they're already going to know everything about you before you probably meet them. They're probably going to know just about everything, and also it's a social power or accountability. If you act out of line, if you do something wrong, if she gets annoyed, if she thinks that you did something wrong, she has that social circle that she can use. I encourage you, men, that if you do want to work and get some power and in social circles, that might be tough for you to have that kind of power and get some authority, because a lot of the times the social circles are built around attention, that men give to women. A lot of the times that's how social circles work, and that's why clubs let women in for free, if you don't know. Anyways, let's jump to the next point. Take on hobbies that get you interacting with people. Yes, we talked about that yesterday, whether it's music or sports or whatever you're interested in. Hobbies. Maybe you're a big surfer. Maybe you're into hiking. Maybe you're into rock climbing. It really there's a thousand hobbies out there. Get into some that are possibly more social. I do recommend you guys to get out there and go to a hobby where the woman just can't sit there and absorb the attention. She actually has to do something and be interactive. It's just not a social event. It's they suggest barbecues. Probably not really great unless the family and the friends at the local barbecue. Again, it needs to be something where she is actually involved with the hobby. She's actually going somewhere and actually doing something where she's invested. If she's just sitting there, it's just social, and it might not be much. You might have better odds or a better experience than if you just went to a bar and she's expecting a drink and men just come and go. You don't want to be treated like that. You don't want to be in a situation like that. So again, the barbecues and the clubs and the parties can build your social group, but if you actually want to meet somebody who's like-minded, that can be a good way. Again, this is no guarantee. A lot of women out there, their hobby is makeup, parties, money, and their little games, and TikTok and Instagram and stuff. So if you can find a woman or a girl who's kind of outside of that, you might have better odds. But do be careful. Your odds aren't particularly good. You know that, men. The next one is don't just look at your phone while walking around. I don't know very many men who do this. I don't know. You can try to get attention. It's kind of almost passive aggressive if you go around a group of women and look at your phone. It's like a form of being there but ignoring them. And this is the kind of thing that women do all the time. They get in front of you or act like they're busy. The classic drop something in front of you and see if you'll pick it up as kind of like a choosing signal. If you are around women but kind of ignoring them or acting like you're too cool for the room, it's kind of negative. But if you look and do research into the dark triad type of stuff, women seem to kind of like that. So I don't know. Maybe you want to do that. Put on some black jeans or something. But I wouldn't recommend it. But here they're saying don't look at your phone at all. I think it's funny that they recommend this in general. Because I've had women pull their phones out on dates and say that it was their family or their friends or their parents calling or texting them. I mean, I don't know if they were lying. They probably were, but the thing is, I see women who are more glued to their phones than men. Again, men love their phones and people in general do, but as far as hurting a possible relationship or you building a relationship and not being able to focus, your attention span and all that. It's I see that women are more glued to their phones, and you men almost have to get pry women away, from their phone, looking at their phones. There's multiple situations where I tried to make eye contact or show interest, and a woman was just glued to her phone, and she never really looked around or paid attention or anything like that. So, let's talk about the next point. Be friendly. I guess so. But again, they're mixing in a lot of traditional man type stuff in here, social expectations that are kind of being put more on the man here. So, the don't look around thing. It says not to interrupt them when they're busy. Kind of depends. A lot of women want you to make that first move and put in some effort, and it really depends on what kind of vibe you think you're getting from them. It's kind of like a test to see how confident you are. And here with the be friendly, they're saying to open a door, and they suggest that because they still expect men to still open doors and do these traditional things. But again, they're not traditional women. But anyways, being friendly, I do think is good, but women often enough are more attracted to men who are busy. they got something better to do, or they're looking at a more attractive woman. Might seem really rude, but again, I wouldn't do it intentionally. But I've been around less attractive women, or somebody's girlfriend, and they'll talk about dating. And if you talk about, what you're interested in, or somebody that somebody that you're attracted to, they just get jealous. It's a funny thing. Women, want you to, kind of just put everything on the plate for them and let them pick and choose for you. Again, I do encourage you men to be out there and friendly and honest and all these things, but do also express what you want out of a relationship. And a lot of the women who are the bad ones probably just going to run away from you, and they're just going to, they don't want to bother with you. And if they're really bad women, they're going to tell all their friends, and it might seem like you have less opportunity because of that. It might seem like you have less of a chance in dating, or you that's not a good way to go, because you might get kicked out of certain social situations. And I'm not suggesting that you be rude or demanding or say something that could be really crazy, like in a social setting, talk about what kind of bust size that you like or something. I'm saying that be willing to be yourself. And you men, again, we talked about yesterday with all the demands of women. If you want to make a joke, again, don't make some obscene joke or extremely rude joke. But if you have a joke and not everybody gets it, I mean, be yourself. Be yourself. And again, don't even joke. A lot of the times jokes either make you look weak. Don't jokes are a really risky thing. You might make yourself look like the Joker, the fool, or you might make yourself more appealing, but in a weak way. The woman's probably going to think that you're weak. And that's the dating atmosphere that we're in. The person who cares less or least is the most important in a relationship. The person who can walk away with no guilt, or just pack up their bags and walk out the door at any time, is kind of the person who's kind of in control. And women have this attitude all the time. So with the be friendly thing, sure, be nice and be open and communicate, but also don't have one-itis. Don't put her on a pedestal. Don't think that she's the most important thing in the world, especially when you don't even know who she is and you haven't asked hard questions. And don't let your emotions get the best of you. And that applies to women too. I know a lot of young women who, with their first loves and their first experiences, and they go for this extremely handsome, sports guy or football player or whatever, and he just walks off, and then her heart's broken, and then she assumes that all men are like this, when she again chose the most successful or the best looking man around, and didn't vet him, didn't ask questions, and didn't figure out what the relationship actually was, and she freely just got jumped in and had some fun with the guy, had some fun, and then she acts like the world, or all relationships should just be given to her, once she the I guess to say the peace leaf is handed over. You as a man you don't have a responsibility to have a relationship or give a relationship, just because a woman had some fun with you. You men, really need to wise up in regards to modern dating. But again, I do suggest and think that long-term relationships and marriage are the best for children and society and personal happiness for both men and women. But you as a man, you're in so much danger. We'll talk about that at the end of the video, and some of the ways you can actually avoid these dangers. This you're in big danger, man. I hope that you're very aware of that. Be open to setups. So anyways, this is the blind dates, or somebody introducing you to their friend or something like this. Men are very open to this, but the problem potentially with being open to setups is there's this expectation, especially if you're around a religious community. So many people, just go on one date, or they're desperate, and they just immediately just marry the first person they were set up with on a blind date. they just immediately just marry that person. And there's this expectation, especially of sometimes from less attractive women, with men sometimes as well, where they expect that things are going to go really well, and they assume that you're already really interested in things just because somebody set you up. You should be asking the tough questions, and you shouldn't have extra trust in somebody just because your friends or your family, your cousin, your best friend found somebody and introduced you. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best person for you, or that they're even a good quality person. You really need to ask and vet and figure out, if you are actually even compatible. So, but I would be open to meeting somebody, but again, more in a casual setting. I wouldn't just accept a blind date unless that sounds really appealing to you. I just wouldn't go and do that, my friends. And even women. I wouldn't just go on a blind date where there's, the expectation in traditional religious communities that you might even propose on the first date. Or in modern dating, there's the expectation that you're both going to have fun, beyond kissing on the first date. So there's two big different social norms and different social expectations, and you're going to be expected probably to do one or the other. Have some form of commitment or some form of fun activities. Keeping it very PG over here. So I would be open to meeting people at parties or being introduced, and then get their phone number or their text and talk with them and see how that goes. But that's how I would do things. So, anyways, let's jump to the next point. Exude confidence. Yeah, again, this is more of a trait that's told to men. You always got to be confident, confident, confident. Again, if you are confident as a man, it speaks to all the social status, and she assumes a lot about you, in regards to potential, and she assumes that you have like all of these qualities and things that she would be looking for. So I view confidence as more of living according to your personal principles and beliefs and honor, and that gives you a sense of more than a sense of duty, a sense of a sense of identity. To me, that is real confidence. If you're just out there being confident, in yourself, and being confident because you've been with a couple girls, and be out there, showing that you're strong, and kind of sidestepping other men, blocking other men's advances and trying to take control of the situation where other men can't speak or approach other women and this kind of stuff. I don't think that's healthy, and I don't think it really helps anybody. This if you've ever tried to be confident or listened to these people who talk to you about quote unquote confidence, it's got two dangers. Again, you might be offering too much as a man, or you might and it feels good to be confident, but if you are feeling confident, it also gives you this possible sense of invulnerability, like nobody can hurt you, nobody can touch you, and nothing can go wrong. And it's good to be confident and strong and have determination in all this, but if you don't think that a woman can get you or hurt you or get you kicked out of society or take advantage of you, you're in for a world of hurt. You're in for a world of danger. So do be confident, but take that with a grain of salt. So the next point is, when you notice someone you like, get in close physical proximity. I always find this a very strange thing when you notice someone that you like, because women are the ones often enough that do this indirectly, is like a body language or a choosing signal. They are the ones who often enough just get close or act shy or get close and then expect you to make a move. That's about as far as most modern women are willing to go or will go in regards to giving you a signal or giving you a quote unquote opportunity. A lot of women think that they're doing a lot. A lot of these modern women think that they're doing an awful lot of work to, put them, maybe you're busy and you look forward, and you're doing something. This has happened to me a lot of times. And then, but she's straight in your peripheral view. She's right where you would look. So she knows that you saw her or would see her when you look up. And that's about as far as a choosing signal and an opportunity as you're probably going to get in modern dating. Um, Again, as a man, you can do that cell phone trick I talked about, especially in groups of women at parties and clubs, where you act like you're just ignoring them. But again, you have to be really attractive, and they probably have to know who you are. They might just think that you're a creep because, again, the attractive men, they can get away, and who's a creep is dependent on how attractive they think that you are, and it's not really dependent on how you act. Not really. And they've proven a lot of these types of things. So I hope that you pay attention to that as well. But the next point is don't go into a date thinking about your other options. This is interesting because I do think that people, again, should build relationships and possibly even marriages. So I think that you should give somebody a real opportunity. A lot of women and men these days as well tend to go into a date and base things on the really short term. With our Netflix and chill culture and all this, they think about what's based on the physical and what's going to be fun, and they're just going to hit it and quit it. The women as well, they're just going to have some fun and jump out the door, and so they're thinking. A lot of even women think about their next date. They're comparing you to who they've dated in the future and who they want to date. I mean, who they dated in the past and who they want to date in the future. And a lot of the times, you're not going to get much of a fair chance. It's kind of a sad thing, but you don't get much of a fair chance. And people aren't really open to listening and understanding your perspective, especially if it's possibly challenges their worldview, or if it seems like you could be politically incorrect, or have a different political view on something. Women are looking to exclude you, or just get rid of you, because again, women have so many options, and you as a man are trying to talk yourself into the relationship and you overlook red flags, you overlook the red alerts, the danger, and you think any opportunity is amazing, and this girl is the next girl you find or talk to is going to be the one. And you invest a lot of effort and emotion and to understand and figure out who this person is. But again, a woman is a lot of the times in our current social and in political situations is the kind of the one who's in power. So you as the man have to set yourself up as not only looking but possibly being that higher value person, and you're going to have to let the woman kind of try to get little bits of information out of you. I don't like this type of culture. I don't like that type of approach. But marriages and relationships are the most happy. The man doesn't just tell or express and everything that he believes and thinks, and all of his experiences and his emotions. The woman has to work for it. Because if you just give it all over, a woman thinks that you're just boring, or that you're just easy, or that there's nothing special about you if you're willing to give over information. And I've dated and been around with these women, and if you as much as just tell them your name and your age and where you're from, and you're willing to give over some of these pretty basic details. I mean, you haven't even get into what's your favorite color basics. But if you're willing to even tell them 4 or 5 very basic things about you, and they didn't have to work for that, you're already boring and you're already basic, and they think that they already understand you, and then you're not even interesting anymore. Most of the women out there who are get interested in men are the men who kind of they don't have to say a lot. They keep closed lips. They don't hand over all of their money, and they look like they have, and they do have lots of options, and they have, they're clearly attractive, but they're clearly very picky, and the men are the ones being selective. Again, if you as a man are just setting yourself up to be attractive to any woman, and that you would do anything for any woman, and dedicate yourself, and you're ready to hand over your life and your job and your car and your lifestyle and everything, and you're making yourself as a man essentially a pick me man. A lot of these modern women and women in general just don't like you and just don't want anything to do with you. So again, you know, play it a little bit tough, be friendly, but kind of challenge the woman to, is she going to step up to your level? Is she going to, prove herself along with you? And a lot of the times the woman isn't going to step up. A lot of the times the woman isn't. A lot of the times thinks that's scary or challenging or strange, or maybe she doesn't know enough about you yet with her friends and her social circle. Or you're just incompatible, and a lot of these women are just are I don't want to be rude, but they are just kind of basic. They go to parties and they have their fun, and they believe what they were told at public schools and high schools and college, and they listen to music that was popular when they grew up. The most popular top 10 hits of 10 or 20 years ago, and they don't explore and they don't find new music. They don't. A lot of the times they don't have to develop their personalities or know or learn anything, because they're pretty. They're pretty, and the world is handed to them, so they don't have to. Not only do they not have to develop those things, they often don't want to, because again, you as a man, it's hard to understand, but a woman, especially if she's even a little bit prettier, especially if she's attractive, especially if she's an attractive woman, she's getting hundreds of messages, and even in person, if she goes to Starbucks, thousands of men are approaching her. She's had opportunities. She's had her emails full. She's had men offer her marriage proposals on the internet. She's had older men offer her vacations, and thousands of dollars to essentially be an escort. And this happens to women who are just pretty. If she's actually really attractive, sees a 7 and an 8, and especially if she's a 9 and a 10. She's probably had opportunities to have some fun with millionaires and famous football players and all of this, and actors, and she's signed some non-disclosure agreements. I forget now, but I watched and I pay attention to a lot of stuff, and there was a fairly famous YouTuber, and she admitted that she couldn't say who it was, but she had a relationship, had a fling with a famous somebody who is really famous, and the more status they can get on Instagram and these places, the more connections and the more that people see them. And a lot of the times, you as men don't understand why women would spend hours and focus their entire lives on things like TikTok and Instagram. It's because of social status, and they can put themselves out there, and they're making themselves the options of the affluent, wealthy, famous men that are out there, and that's why they probably ignore you. And if you make comments, you're just boosting their validation and their egos and all of this. They're the ones who are actually messaging, the most wealthy, famous men out there. And again, even just the pretty women, sometimes they can have a fling or have some fun with these men. And that's why these women have these expectations to get the million or multi-million-dollar man. Some of these, if she's an Instagram model and she has a million, even a couple 100,000, but especially if she has a million followers on TikTok or Instagram, and she's out there and she's done some low-level modeling, and things like that, and she's had some fun. She has had opportunities to talk to and at least have a couple fun times with some famous or affluential or really wealthy people. And That's why she thinks she's settling with you, even if you're a really good-looking, friendly, decent, genuine guy, and even if you're successful, even if you're making a couple 100,000, uh, she knows that she had that fun. She had that experience one time, or two times, or three times, and and that's what she wants. Especially if she's really if she was lucky enough and attractive enough to get one of those guys when she was 18, 19. That's what you call alpha widow, as they say, and she's not gonna compromise, because she thinks, or she could get that. Well, at one time she could get that relationship, and possibly get a relationship out of one of these really, really high value guys, but she kept playing the field, and she thought that she could even do better, and lost that. Anyways, let's jump to the next point. I wanted to mention that you men don't deserve to have this type of attitude and treat yourself like this. I saw this on Quora. Again, this has 600,000 views and 173 answers, and it's a very popular post on Quora. And this guy Roland, and he's the dark, handsome type. You can tell clearly he's a lot taller than her as well. He's the dark, handsome, and the single most quality I look for in a girl is whether I can stand being with them the majority of the time. So this is kind of that passive aggressive thing that a woman might do. You as a man saying something like this kind of challenges the woman, because a lot of the times the woman has this type of attitude. It's like, if I can tolerate him, and he's popular enough, and the other girls want him, and I'm getting enough money and this and that, I might be able to do that. So you men almost have to embrace that type of attitude, and she definitely has that type of attitude towards him, and it's kind of a sad thing. And a lot of you guys shouldn't be. I don't think you should act this way, and I don't think you should tolerate it too. But woman is just around just tolerating you, kind of thinks you're annoying, but thinks that you're the best option around, and that you give it good and all this, and that you get, you're giving over money or status, and she's living in a pretty good house or whatever. I just don't think that's a good situation. So I wanted to bring that up real quick. So I did want to. I think that anybody who talks about dating, these quote unquote red pill or quote unquote MGTOW people, I think it's their responsibility, and I'm gonna do it here real quick. I think it's your responsibility and their responsibility to at least mention to be safe. Again, John Likas and some of these people did do a pretty good job. Again, it's not only about preventing pregnancies. If you are this guy who out there who wants to have fun, and a lot of you guys, I know what you're like, and I know that's what you're gonna do. So do be careful, and do be very careful. And I'm sure that you're told all of this in public schools, but a lot of you guys aren't careful enough. Be very careful. And it looks like Georgia is really high risk, and Florida and Louisiana, and also Nevada. So if you're in any of these states, it's I can't zoom in. I'm forgetting my states over here. I think that's Maryland is really high risk, and around DC, Maryland, and anyways, be careful, be very careful. It's a lot of these people either don't know, or they just don't even care. And if you're going on these these dating apps, and if really risky dating apps with these people who just constantly want to have more and more fun and go on there, some of them don't know what they got, and some of them just don't care, and you're really, really high risk on these dating apps as well, which is another kind of scary thing, because you think that you're just having a one-time thing, and that somebody you're dating who might look pretty, she might look innocent even, or she might just look wild, and she's got a new guy every night, or she goes through a new three or four guys every week, no joke, and you got to be careful, because this stuff is out there. So the next point I wanted to bring up was in regards to dating is I think an important thing. We talked about, working through your family and friends and social circles. You really need to pay attention to what people's attitudes are in regards to respect. And I'm not gonna preach on modesty over here. That's not why I'm bringing this up with Ariana Grande wore a bra top to her brother's wedding. I'm not saying that all social customs and culture is good, but the thing here is disrespect. Again, not all social customs and all social norms are good, and of course people can be free and independent, and that's all good. That's all good. But if she's willing to go to something like a wedding, and it's her brother's wedding, and she's willing to wear something that, she looks like she's just walked off the Las Vegas Strip, and like an escort or something, and she's ready to put on a show, at the club. It's not very respectable. And again, if you are looking for that marriage and that relationship, look at how she dresses and look at how she acts. And a lot of women will tell you kind of who they are through not only their body language but how they dress and how they act. If here with Ariana Grande, if a woman is willing to go to a funeral, like these women do, or a big social events, a wedding, and just wear, flimsy, where they're clearly trying to draw attention to themselves as well. It's not only the disrespect, but they want extra attention that they're going to draw to themselves, and they'd be willing to take that attention away from a funeral, that amount of respect that you're supposed to have at a funeral or at a wedding. She probably was showing more skin, and drawing attention and eyes away from the bride and the groom. In the past, you were actually expected to wear really, really basic clothing, and the bride and the groom, they made the rules for what people wore with their clothes, so the attention would be focused on the bride and the groom, because that's the whole point of the wedding, and it's their special event. And some of these women don't care about causing a fuss or a fight or causing a problem at a wedding, and these are the types of women who are potentially toxic. That it's like, everything just matters about attention. I saw something on TikTok recently. A woman got into a crash, and they were pretty much still in the middle of the road. And the first thing this I think they're called Gen Z, they did was like pull out their phone and they started like live streaming or recording it and putting it on TikTok. And the woman is out there telling her to move the car and get the car off the road because she's going to cause another car crash. And both of them are kind of in danger. They're in the road. And she's recording it, and like it's funny, and she's not afraid, she's not sad that the car got damaged or she caused a wreck, or that she's in a wreck, or that she's in the road. She's just recording it with a straight face, and she doesn't even care. Clicks and giggles, and it's all fun and games, and you got to be really careful. And again, there was a generation raised by Marilyn Monroe, and there's all these different bad influences throughout the generations. There's a generation of Marilyn Monroe girls back in the day with Kennedy. That was decades ago. Then you had like Britney Spears, and then you had people now like with Ariana Grande. And I think you should ask questions about what kind of music they listen to and what they care about. If they listen to Taylor Swift and they think it's normal, and especially if they're big fans of them, Taylor Swift has openly like insulted men, and all of her music is about getting into relationships, the up and down, and the breakup, and then she hates the man, and then she loves the man, and then she hates him, and the up and down. You're gonna see probably their lifestyle and probably their approach to dating, what we listen to and what we like in regards to music and all this is pretty important. So I think that if you do want to find somebody to date, music is really important. So let's go through this here real quick. I did think
number two is
sorry. We'll go through this video here. It's matchmakers share tips in dating 2022, and this is from Good Morning America. Again, these people are losing a lot of status. These people are kind of a joke, but a lot of people pay attention to them and respect them. Good Morning America has 4 million subscribers, and again, I mentioned this because they're losing a lot of influence, and they can't really fake it like with Twitter, when they're actually possibly going to fix Twitter. That Good Morning America released this video in January 7th. January 7th, months ago this year, 4 months ago or more, and it only has 6,000 views with 4 million subscribers. That is dismal. That's one of the worst, ratio of subscribers to views, that I've ever seen. 60,000 wouldn't even be very much compared to how many subscribers they have. Anyways, let's talk about this. And again, they're recommending or talking about OkCupid. I would be very careful on any of these sites and know who you're getting yourself into. Again, it's probably better to go for an app like Tinder that's more local. But again, I do believe in the power of technology, where you can find something that's more international, where you can find somebody who is really compatible. But a lot of women and people these days, they don't tell you everything about them. Most don't, and they aren't really looking for really matchmaking and really particularly being picky, for a long time relationship and a marriage. That's most people who use dating apps these days. That's not what they're using them for. They're using them for hookups. So let's see what these people have to say on matchmaking. Shares tips, and then we'll give some commentary, and then we'll wrap this video up here today.
Time of year, and folks are getting on these apps, so we're going to start our new year big dating question with Rachel. Listen up.
I always seem to pick men who can't commit. How do I tell if they're serious?
She sounds Irish, kind of. I'm not sure what kind of accent that has. Anyways, we'll just watch it.
Oh wow, this is a great one, right? The fact that you are making the selections opposed to being selected is something that I really like, right? But what you need to work on is how you're making the selections. And what you have to understand is it's very hard for us to be rational about our love decisions.
Okay, so what he's getting at is that you need to figure out more about this person. That what he's going to suggest, and what women are going to take away from this, is that you need to be even more dedicated in figuring out his lifestyle and his character, who his friends are, what his job is, how much money he's making and where he lives and all that. That's what most women are going to take away from this. But what he's saying is to step away from emotions, which is the thing that women really should be paying attention to, because women, in regards to dating, are just going to look emotionally at the most attractive man, and she's not really gonna. A lot of the times, women don't ask to vet you, based on your character and all this. Again, there's this funny situation where a lot of women, especially when they're younger, are just looking for fun. And all that matters is the feels, the tingles, and if you make them feel good, that's all they care about. And once they start getting younger, in the 25 to 35, they've never really asked for commitment or relationships when they were younger, and now all of a sudden they still want the most attractive men, they still want the most successful men, the tallest men, the 6 foot tall, 6 figures, and the dark handsome kind of guy, and dark, mysterious, and handsome. That's what I was trying to say. The funny thing is, it's hard for women, and they don't a lot of the times want to accept that responsibility that they now have to, vet and ask questions. They've never had to do that, especially in the past, and with social norms. In the past, the dad would vet the man to figure out what kind of man he was. The father would give the talk to the prospective husband. They would have a big talk. The woman wouldn't really have these kinds of responsibilities, and now the women, she's again still going based on her emotions, and she's not vetting, and she's jumping in there and having fun and having a really good time. And then she's, the women say, where is this relationship going? And when are you going to do this for me? Or when are you going to get me the ring? Or when are we going to get engaged? Or when are we going to do this? And then they try to use, those good times, or just use her presence just because she's there to kind of like pressure the guy. And that's the kind of thing that makes men really want to run away. If you as a good woman want an actual relationship, actually want a family, not only do you need to start younger, looking for that good man younger when you're really attractive, and men really want to, especially if they want to build a family, you got to start younger. But you actually, you got to, just like men need to start asking questions, women need to be able to also ask questions and be able to think in a more logical way. Again, women with being emotional, and I guess men being emotional, but again, men are just wanting to be more physical. And women, it's both emotional and physical. Both have to kind of overcome those, just basic urges. If you're actually trying to build something, if you're just wanting to have fun, it just really doesn't it doesn't really matter. But this is matchmaking. And it's funny, again, the women, once she starts getting 25 and 30, 35, they have these expectations, and they push them on society, and again, they push them on men. And what's their responsibility? You've been having fun, and what do you do for a relationship, and what do you even do for a man? Again, a lot of these modern women who are expecting marriage and relationships, a marriage is a very traditional thing, and throughout history also was a very religious thing. These women most of them are not religious at all, and they're certainly not traditional. So sometimes I wonder, why do they even want marriage? And the reason they want marriage is not only because it's tradition, but it builds up their status, and they have the opportunity to get all of this money from men. So again, marriage really benefits women. It doesn't really benefit men. And there's a reason why women keep talking about marriage, and men really don't, unless the man is really traditional. And again, the funny thing is, there's a lot more traditional men these days out there than women. There's just not a lot of traditional women. So it's really a funny situation. And you men out there, don't be wifing up these 30, 35 year old women, especially if they're single mothers, even if they act like they're trying to do the good thing and they've had their fun and now they want, a relationship. It's time for you to have your fun, or find somebody who didn't, waste their youth and throw their youth away. And they're only going to be able to have like one kid or maybe two, and maybe even not a healthy kid. Again, especially once these women pass 30, especially past 35, they're high risk children. They're not as healthy as children at all.
So I want you to appoint a friend or a family member or a professional like a matchmaker and let them help you.
Okay, here's a question from social media. Stephen asks, as a divorcee and now a single dad raising two boys, what tips would you provide for me in finding love? My kids are the number one priority in life, and how can I balance dating while raising two kids as a...
Again, this is funny because, again, the guy is looking for love. Yeah, sure, love should be a part of it, but you should be looking for somebody who's more of a homemaker. Love is important, but you almost want to be looking for somebody who's going to be able to take care of your kids as a man. And if you're a single dad out there, that's a tough one. A lot of these younger women out there don't want to raise another woman's kids. They just don't. Again, it's expected that men step up. You men need to step up and marry and date and care about these kids and all this. And sometimes lawyers and judges take advantage of men and act as if the man is now legally responsible for those kids, even if you're not married. There's been times where single mothers, if you somehow are seen as a father figure, there was a situation where a man helped a woman move just one time. Just helped her move out of the kindness of her heart. Never dated her, never done anything with her, never been around that kid. Kid didn't even know his name. And she sued or went at the government and tried to get this man's money for child support because he was a quote-unquote fatherly figure or a father figure to this child. And sadly enough, you helping that single mother move might be the only or possibly the best the best example of being friendly or possibly showing any type of strength or any type of character that little boy has ever seen in his life in a single mother household. Let's continue.
Single parent.
Yeah, so this is a great question. We have to understand that dating takes a lot of time. A matter of fact, on average, daters are spending between 3 and 15 hours per week just doing self-improvement, going on dating sites, preparing for a date, and going on a date. So it's a big commitment that you have to make. So you have to decide if you want to make that commitment now. And if you do, then get a support infrastructure. Family, friends, babysitters, anyone who can help you to focus your time on dating in the moment.
And Paul, here's the question from Instagram.
That's true. You don't want to be worrying about your kids. But that's not very particularly good advice. I mean, that's just the basics. He didn't really give that man any advice. If you're a single dad out there, he just said, you need to make sure that you're not worried, essentially stressed or worrying about those kids. And that... I guess he's also kind of indirectly trying to say that if you go into dating, you don't really want to be focused on the kids. I guess if you do want love and something romantic, you're going to have to be able to, maybe step outside of thinking about those kids for a second, which is kind of tough because you essentially are looking for the new mom for those kids that you got. That's a tough one, isn't it? But he didn't really give too much advice, but that's something, I guess.
And Kim, who asked, for 40 plus, never married, what's your biggest tip for meeting eligible relationship ready partners?
This is what I tell you guys about these women who think that if you date or marry somebody who's 25 or younger, that you're essentially committing a crime. And these women are starting to look for marriage or look for a relationship once their looks really start fading and once they can't play the field, once they can't get hit up. And if they're attractive, they can hold on to their looks. I mean, they're good. Most women start losing them after 30. I mean, a woman, especially if she was like a 9 or a 10 or really attractive, she can still hold on and be pretty darn good looking at even possibly 40. But once she starts losing the attention of the up and up, the really high successful man, the millionaires and the the football stars and she starts losing any interest and possibilities and these really affluential men, the lawyers and the doctors and all this stuff, then she's going to look to settle down. And a lot of you guys are told that a woman like this would be a catch. She's 40 years old, never married, and she's out here acting like men aren't good, there's no good men, and all this. I mean, where were you? Were you a good woman? Why weren't you married? If you are a marriage-minded woman, why weren't you married when you were 18 or 19 or 20? And depending on your culture, where you live, maybe younger than that. Why weren't you married at 18, 19, 20? If you do care about marriage at all. Why are you here at 40 expecting a 45-year-old man who's becoming the most successful man he's ever been, who's finally in his stride, who can still, biologically still get out there and have healthy children, and still find a 21, 25-year-old woman and have some fun. And he's actually finally got his wealth going on, his success going on, and you expect some 45, 50-year-old man to give you, this kind of woman is expecting for that 45, 50-year-old man to give her the world and come to her level and act like they have a 50-50 relationship and she's probably not going to be a traditional woman and she really can't have kids anymore. It's just a mess.
Oh man, this is a big one, but let me give you three, right? First is be intentional. Whenever you see someone that you're attracted to, don't wait to be approached. You approach them. Number two.
And you know why he says that? Is because her social status is lower. She can't afford to be the wallflower. She can't afford to just hang around men playing on her cell phone. She can't afford to just be sit around and expect somebody to offer her a drink at the bar. She can't afford to, just ask her friends and family, for a bunch of connections and on Tinder and all this, and because her options are all drying up. She's got almost nothing. And again, these types of women, they'd be lucky to get the 55. A 40-year-old woman would be lucky to get a 55-year-old man who's been divorced and friendly and they're compatible and all that. But she doesn't want a 55-year-old man. She wants a 45, 50-year-old man who's affluential and good looking and probably never been divorced and probably doesn't have kids, and it's just not very realistic. Let's wrap this up.
Is know that the biggest difference between a serious dater and someone who just wants a casual relationship is vulnerability. A serious dater will open up over time. A casual dater will close up over time.
I mean, that is true in a way. But again, he's telling again, these are always applied to men and not to women or against women. So the woman out there now is going to go out there, look for men who are emotional, invested, who expose their personalities, or their characteristics, who talk about their experiences and their emotions, and more than just a Netflix and chill, more than just a hookup. So look for that emotion or that investment, that intention, which is a good thing. But again, she's 40 years old, and she's looking for that actual love, an actual dedicated relationship, somebody who's actually going to be emotionally invested and care about her. That's tough. You'd be lucky to find that in a church, somebody in a similar somebody who's religious just like you. That's a toughie. That's a tough one, where your chances of that is not very good. Again, I do think that a lot of people should be more on the internet and put up on there how picky they are, and you be judged and people the app matches you up. And I've been on some of those where they give you a percentage, like you're 70% compatible, you're 85% compatible, you're not compatible at all at like 40 or something. But not enough people use those, and they don't match people. There's not enough criteria, and there's not enough people using it. And again, you as a guy looking for marriage and all this, you have to understand that, again, I said it in my previous video, and I'll say it again, and this is one of the things that Daddy Knows Best is going to talk about. The attractive women and the 18, 19, 20, and also the traditional type women who actually might want a relationship are going to work through their family and their friends. They're most likely not going to be on dating apps, and they're going to also be pretty picky. So they want to pick and not take that risk, and they're going to, if they're intentionally marriage minded, intentionally relationship minded, these types of people are probably not on dating apps. There are some dating apps for like certain religions and things like that, and you can have some fun and try to get on some of those. I tried to get on a Jewish dating app once just for the heck of it, and nobody talked to me. Even though I have a name that some people consider kind of traditionally Jewish, nobody talked to me. Nobody talked to me. And so I don't know what kind of reactions you might get out there. But, you as men, you have to determine what kind of experience you want. And again, if you are marriage minded, You got to work through friends and family. Don't waste your time on these dating apps. And if you are somebody who's just out there looking for fun, the hit it and the quit it, you best protect yourself. You know what I mean? Protection and all that. And you best also, don't let her in your house. You just put yourself in a world of danger. She can leave things there and try to come back, acts like she forgot her toothbrush and that she owns the place. She can call the cops on you, and if you have something steady, like you have a steady relationship, and you can get common law marriage applied against you. Women, once things balance out in regards to fairness and this kind of social thing going on, where men are, to the point where things are more balanced and men aren't being taken advantage of, women are going to start coming possibly full circle around and actually start wanting marriages again. Because if things were really fair, if things were really fair in relationships, women couldn't have all these advantages, and they wouldn't be given such high value. Again, women complain about beauty standards and all of this. Once the world goes crazy, we haven't even gotten to the point where OnlyFans is going to get only crazier, TikTok's only going to get crazier, and all this. But who knows? Maybe 50 years or 100 years where we go full circle. Who knows? Maybe it'll be faster than that. It'll take less time than that. But when things are actually made fair, women are going to actually start wanting marriages, and women actually might start paying attention to men with their personalities and their character, and actually look to building up a family and a legacy and heritage. But what's the point of, again, in modern society, in Western societies, what's the point of trying to build up a family with a famous last name, with a heritage, and where you pass down your inheritances? And because, again, more than 50% of marriages are divorced, and women start 70 or 80% of the marriages, and those are old statistics. It's even worse now. And again, over 50% of the marriages are divorced, and those are, again, that includes all these religious people, and these people actually wanted to make marriage work, who thought through it. These are mostly the traditional type people. The average person these days can't afford or just doesn't want to get married, and men are wisening up to the dangers. So if 50% of the people getting married are getting divorced, and these are people who are religious and dedicated and really want to make things work, and then you're going to lose everything, and you're going to lose the kids and the house, and it even applies to your inheritances. Women can come at your inheritances, and again, we're about to have the biggest transfer of wealth in human history, as this really big older generation that has most of the wealth passes away, and the government's going to tax it and all this. I hope that y'all have family members that you can talk to and friends, and that you can actually legally figure out how to get that wealth. Again, don't be greedy and trying to grab at your grandparents or great grandparents and all this and their money, but the government shouldn't be stealing that, so they can redistribute it in this country. And I won't get into more things that can be considered possibly politics, but a country that does not protect or care about its own citizens, you're about to that kind of wealth is about to be stripped away from you, just like in dating. Men don't have much of any choice. Again, women constantly complain about men running off and doing this and taking advantage of them. These are the really wealthy men. If you're just a regular guy, you're a Joe Schmo, you're working a regular job, you're making 30 to 50,000. These women aren't paying much of any attention to you, and you're not seen as a high value man. And these women aren't looking to settle down with you until they're 30, 35, used up with possibly a couple kids, and now they act like they're invested in love. And a lot of them are saying that they're born again virgins, and all this kind of stuff. So, men, don't settle for all that, and don't tolerate that. Again, I'm sorry that a lot of you women were lied to, and men are lied to about a lot of stuff too. But it's if you had your fun and partied and went out there and you were a bold, powerful, independent woman, and you had your fun and all that. Now you're 30, 35, and maybe 40 years old, and now you expect some wealthy, good-looking man who's going to be emotional and open up to you and be your best friend. And he can only be 45 or 50, and some of these women are 30 or 35, and they don't even want to date a 40-year-old or 45-year-old. They're like, "Ew, that's gross." It's like you're almost 40 yourself, but they don't want to date somebody who's even five. And again, they've done studies that it's healthy, or that the best relationships that don't divorce, that stay together, is where the man is 8 years older. So if you're 30 or 35, you best be expecting to date a 40 or 45-year-old man, and that's the best combination that you should be looking for. And if he loves you and cares about you, and you both have an emotional connection, and he's willing to settle down with you, you're a very lucky woman. But these women are entitled and acting like they deserve that kind of relationship, but they didn't try to build a relationship or build a family, build that legacy, build that dynasty up. When, what were you doing when you were 25? It's like, but they were having their fun. They were having their hot girl summer. They were out there at Cancun, and partying it up, doing, again, a lot of you men out there, you've been working your whole life. You've been doing overtime. You've been building it yourself up. You've been building a business. Some of y'all had some crazy spring break experiences, but a lot of you guys have never done these can't even imagine the types of things these women have had or done. And, she she ain't no virgin. And, again, a lot of you men out there haven't had that many experiences. Even some of you guys out there who are 30 or 35, and you're just becoming successful. Don't listen to these types of people who are going to tell you that you need to, if you do want to settle down, don't be settling down with the 30, 35-year-old feminist, college-educated woman who thinks that you need an equal relationship, and that you got to cook and clean, and you might maybe get one or two kids out of, and she's got an attitude, and she probably wants to divorce you. Find somebody in your community. Find somebody who's like-minded. Find somebody who you can, work with, who will work with you. And again, marriage is still dangerous. Even if you found that 18, 19, 20-year-old woman, it's still really dangerous for the man, for that man to get married like that. It's real dangerous. I mean, really dangerous. It's that young woman can still divorce you, and she can still do whatever she wants and probably get away with it, and take the house and the kids and everything. But you have a much better chance. You have a much better chance. But again, they won't tell you real statistics. They won't tell you any real statistics. And if, again, my video here is not putting down on women, I'm trying to encourage women. I'd like you women out there to be happy, or 30, 35, and I'd like you men out there who are starting to become successful to be happy. But these men who are starting to become successful and finally getting themselves into a position, who are 30, 35, or 40, they don't need to be dating these single mothers and 30, 35-year-old women. That's not healthy, and that's not normal. These 30, 35-year-old women need to be looking at the 40, 45, maybe 50-year-old men, and consider themselves lucky to get that. Yeah, and you men out there need to stop giving up and compromising everything and to society and for women. Start demanding. And again, marriage and relationships is so risky And that's why I say women are going to eventually start begging for marriage and begging for relationships, because, everything's financial. And, women want to take advantage of men in that way. It's a fair exchange. A lot of these 35-year-old men are going to start going and hiring escorts, hiring your daughters. You 35-year-old women, you 40-year-old woman, these guys don't want to marry you. These guys are probably going to hire out your daughter, for a weekend. And it would be much more safe and actually more affordable, even though they're terribly expensive. If you've ever went on the internet, some of these escort types are like $5,000 and stuff like this. It'd still be better, a better situation financially for you to fork out a big 5G, and be able to have some kind of release, get that out of your system, than it would be to have a relationship and marriage and all this. And that's the crazy world we live in, isn't it? Anyways, you guys out there, be bold, be confident, and I do want people to build up society and work with each other. And but again, if we were going to have families, if we're going to build up society, and if we're going to have people working with each other, we got to understand this dating dynamic, and we got to talk about it, because it's not normal, and it's not going to work if again, when these 35-year-old feminist college educated women start making demands and start looking for the good man. It's like, oh, now they want you. You as a guy who they rejected and laughed at high school, and maybe you weren't good enough, or maybe they were just having their flings in college, and now they can't even have healthy kids, or maybe they can have one or two kids. Who are at a high risk of having autism and all these disabilities, and it causes all these problems and complications for your relationship, and she's not going to look that good. She got out there. She was able to have all these good-looking, rich, affluent men, and you, as a young man, upcoming, you didn't. Women just don't want to pay attention or care. You didn't have those opportunities to have that much fun. You were out there working, and you didn't get to have all these attractive opportunities or attractive potential experiences. You didn't get any of that. But women, now you're supposed to just, settle down and think that you're lucky. Think that you're getting a catch, that you got a 35-year-old woman. And that's a real catch for you. If you're a 35-year-old man. No, that's not how dating and relationships work. That's not how real equality works, and that's not how the dating market works. Anyways, you men out there, don't give up. Hold on out, and don't give up on yourself, because as Tom Leykis said, and all these people say, your relationship, your sweet thing, probably just graduated high school, and you don't have to compromise for these types of these women who probably are going to divorce you, probably aren't going to care about you, and what were they doing for society? What were they doing for men? And they seem to care all of a sudden. They seem to care a whole lot now. That they're losing their advantage, that they're losing everything. They're trying to. The truth is, they're trying to sell themselves. They're trying to sell used and bad goods. And you, as men, you finally got the leg up on them. I mean, you finally got that. You finally got the advantage. And we're gonna have a generation of bachelors here, a generation of bachelors, and the world's not going to be happy about it. We're going to have news. We're going to have all these news agencies and all these women complaining and fighting and going crazy about it. We're going to. That's what's coming. That's what's coming for you women, and you created it. And again, I'm the kind of man who wanted a family. I wanted all that, and you women didn't, and you women wouldn't work and compromise and be friendly and decent and kind, and you wouldn't do any of that. And now you're going to have a generation of bachelors, and you talk about how you're oppressed and all this, and you're robbing men blind. You're taking everything that they can, and you're using police and the government against them and all this. You're going to have a generation of bachelors who don't want anything to do with you, or they're just going to hire out the most attractive women that they can afford. And sadly, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to go on. And I hope that you women enjoy what you created. I hope that you women out there enjoy your quote-unquote equality, because, again, as much as y'all try to hate traditional marriages, those gave y'all a lot of advantage in protections and love and relationships and community. And a lot of y'all act like marriages were the worst thing that ever happened to women. Really were the best things that ever happened to women. They really were. As you can tell, this type of society now, where the wealthiest and most affluential men just hire out and have essentially like concubines and harems or harems, and we're going to have more and more of that kind of stuff going on. And society is about to change big time. Oh, big time. And it's going to be interesting going forward. Well, what's going to happen to society, because it's going to lead to a lot more classism, and classism has really been rising in America and the West, and I think it's only going to that aspect of things is only going to continue to get crazier. But it gives you an opportunity, men, to, before the classism happens, where you're categorized and limited. You yourself as a man can really, and again, a lot of these Western societies with capitalism, you still have the opportunity to get yourself up there and still build that fortune, build that company, and then find somebody young and attractive that you actually like, who's possibly willing to work with you. It's not all lost. You can still do that, and then and build that up. Hope that you do. Hope that you think that and think about that, because a lot of you 20, 25, 30-year-old men out there, you think it's over, and you think that you can't find any relationships, and you're not being treated right or with respect, and then you might think that you're lucky if one of these 35 or 40-year-old feminist women would give you a chance. No. And I'm trying to get the word out. You don't accept that. You don't tolerate being treated like this in our society. Oh, no, you don't. You're not going to be. We're not. Get the word out. Help your friends and family, and don't let them be walked on like this. You men don't deserve to be treated like this. And you men, a lot of you men have good characters or have chosen to have quality and define yourself. Even if you're not the most moral man out there, you got something going for you if you've been able to build up a business or technology or make the world a better place, and actually help people in a capitalist society. That's worth something. These women who, again, get these jobs where their HR departments are focused on people's feelings and all this, and take all these government positions and make all these fake studies and take advantage of all this. It's like, that they're not actually helping people and actually making the world a better place. But again, if you're a construction worker, electrician, a plumber, or anything like that, these types of people are going to look down on you. It's going to be real funny once you, even if you're an electrician or a plumber or a construction worker, once you become a manager, or maybe you decide to build your own business, save up that money and finally build that business, and then you actually got some money in, then they start treating you different. Then they start treating you way different. And then, you know, these women come out here with all these expectations on you. It's real funny to see that you're going to be in the driver's seat. You're going to be the one in control. Yeah. That's going to be fun, isn't it? Hope that, and then again, this is me being inspirational to you, helping you guys out. So have a beautiful day. I'll see you soon in the next episode of Daddy Knows Best. Again, women out there, I want you to be happy too, but you got to understand how dating works and relationships work and biology. And there's a reason, I'll leave it at this. I'll say it again. There's a reason why they used to say 18, if you weren't married by 18, you were an old maid. I'll just leave it at that. Have a beautiful day, everybody. I'll see you soon. Daddy Knows Best. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.